Inside Donald Trump's prison cell, the surroundings are like any other small, enclosed space. The walls are gray concrete, and a narrow cot with a thin mattress is the only piece of furniture. A tiny metal sink and toilet combo sit in one corner, while a small barred window allows a sliver of natural light to filter in. The sound of clanking bars echoes through the air as guards patrol the hallway outside.
What? What is...
President Trump is 76 years old. He will die in federal prison.
Trump spends his days pacing the limited floor space. The once powerful man now finds himself in a place of confinement.
Excuse me, it's not often that you start with the straightforward truth. Representative Gonzalez, what can you say to disagree with this specific individual?
He will survive. Look, the House is a rough and rowdy place, but Mike Johnson is going to be just fine. I served 20 years in the military. It's my absolute honor to be in Congress, but I served with some real scumbags. Look, Matt Gaetz, he paid minors to have sex with him at drug parties. Bob Good endorsed my opponent, a known neo-Nazi. These people used to walk around with white hoods at night. Now they're walking around with white hoods in the daytime.
The people criticizing me are not the American people. The American people agree with me, and I've talked to them, and I've seen it all over. They are outraged, and what they're saying is they don't want to vote for Republicans anymore because Mike Johnson's speakership is over. He needs to do the right thing to resign and allow us to move forward in a controlled process. Yeah. If he doesn't do so, he will be vacated.
Well, with all due respect, you didn't give me a plan for the speaker's role. And again, does this mean you are going to file that motion at some point?
It's coming regardless of what Mike Johnson decides to do. And we have 3 more Republicans joining us from special elections coming up very soon. So people need to know this can happen.
More about Marjorie, I think, on another occasion. Ms. Noem she's put in her audition to be Trump's VP, which basically means you ignore anything to do with truth, anything to do with facts, and you just turn into a total, I would say, anal passage ring kisser. But in short, sycophant.
I just want to push on this question of what actually happened, because Donald Trump himself acknowledged in 2018 that he authorized payments to Stormy Daniels and reimbursed Michael Cohen. We actually have the reimbursement checks to Cohen signed by Donald Trump. So those are the facts. Are you comfortable with this?
Michael Cohen worked for President Trump. President Trump paid his legal fees. He paid his Michael Cohen legal fees and bills, and that's what this trial will bring forward, hopefully, is the truth. What a ridiculous case that this is, and that it's based on the narrative today that is coming from a man who is proven to be a liar. So I'm hoping that this judge makes the right decision. I'm hoping these jurors can come in and be unbiased, and we'll let this case go forward in a swift manner that allows President Trump to get back on the campaign trail. Americans deserve to hear from their candidates, and the Democrats and the activists are using this trial to derail him, to keep him in court instead of out talking to Americans about what their real concerns are. And their real concerns are their everyday lives. They need a leader in the White House who gets up every day and puts them first and doesn't raise their taxes, doesn't overregulate them, take away their freedoms, and give all our money to other countries instead of making sure that we're taking care of America first and keeping us safe and secure.
I just want to say for the record, there's absolutely no evidence that President Biden is involved in this. This is a case that is being brought in the state of New York by the Manhattan DA.
And that's what I think is remarkable, is that if you look at President Biden and what he's done and what his son has done, and the fact that they are not being prosecuted for some of their crimes that
has nothing to do
really
with this.
Kind of unprecedented.
That has nothing to do with this. So my question is...
True, completely different.
Yeah,
we have a judicial system right now that's being used against certain members of certain parties.
My other point that I want to make, Governor,
is to have a
you mentioned that he was paying his legal fees to Michael Cohen. One of the things that they are going to talk about in this trial is the fact that it wasn't just a retainer. It was actually a payment to Michael Cohen because Michael Cohen put the money out for Stormy Daniels on his own. But kind of big picture, Governor, if Donald Trump is convicted in this trial, will you still support him in November?
If my choice is between Joe Biden and Donald Trump every single day of the week, yes, I will support Donald Trump. I have from the very beginning.
And always dragging up the rear end of the garbage. Lindsey Graham.
There's a lone component to it. This would not have passed without Donald Trump. I want to thank the House Speaker and Hakeem Jeffries working together in a bipartisan fashion to give weapons to Ukraine to fight a fight that matters to us. And President Trump has created a lone component to this package that gives us leverage down the road. So this idea that
after what happened in Arizona when civil rights era law came back and is now the law of the land there, the former President Donald Trump said that that state law goes too far. The law in your state is similar. It's an abortion ban, including areas where a woman is raped or in times of incest. So do you believe that the law in your state goes too far, just as he said about Arizona? Are you with him on that, or do you think that he's wrong?
You know, it's interesting because the law in my state was passed decades before I ever became governor. It was a trigger law that said when Roe v. Wade became overturned, that this would be the law that would go into place. So that may be a topic that will continue to be discussed in South Dakota. Our law today allows an exception to save the life of the mother, but the people in South Dakota will decide what their laws look like.
What do you think it should look like?
I can have an opinion, and I can weigh forward, and I can look at the science and what we've learned about babies in the womb, and to believe that we should protect life. But I think that our law today is what South Dakota wants, and they'll continue to have that debate, and I'll continue to follow through in my role, which is to make sure the will of the people is enforced.
Do you think there should be exceptions for rape and incest, for example?
And I think that every state's going to look different. That's what's different, Dana, is that I've constantly looked, and we rely in South Dakota on the fact that I'm pro-life, and we have a law that says that there is an exception for the life of the mother. And I just don't believe a tragedy should perpetuate another tragedy. I believe in taking care of mothers that are in a crisis situation, and that we should be walking alongside them, giving them all the information and the best information they can make before they have to be put in a situation where an abortion is the only option that they have. So I'll continue to do that and love mothers and families through these situations, recognizing that they are often challenging and scary, and many times they're feeling very alone. And in South Dakota, I hope that that's never our story.
Can I just add, we clearly have reached a stage in politics, well, on the Trumpy Trump side, where ideology, policies like fiscal policies, things that you normally expect politicians to have a difference on, have just gone out the window. It's no longer about should we put money into, say, state-funded situations, or should we put back private equity. That conversation, that's old. That's not what it's about now. It's almost like those that are feeling bitter, twisted, and then you add in those that are clinging to power, desperate to be part of some Trump machinery with its rusty and old, just saying anything, like anything. Doesn't matter whether there's an element of truth in it, doesn't matter where anybody gets harmed as a consequence of what they say. It's all about how can I, one, get attention, two, try and make sure I get a position should Trump win another presidency, and three, just tearing up any legacy that they may have had previous. Just unbelievable. Unbelievable. And what I find even more crazy is people buy into it. And that's the bit. Is it the fact that they just don't want to know the truth? Is it the fact that they just feel, well, if we lie, no one's going to notice?